Hello and welcome to Texans Talk Money. I'm Kyla, your host and a peer financial coach at Texan Smart. Every episode, we will be joined by another peer financial coach from my office, where we will be navigating all the roads on how to handle your money as a college student. So sit back and get your wallets ready to be Texan Smart.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Texans Talk Money. Today, I'm joined by Mackenzie. This is her second time on. How are you, Mackenzie?
I'm doing good.
Yay. So I hope everybody had a great spring break. I know I did. I got to relax. I had lots of fun just not having to just do schoolwork. So I hope everybody else enjoyed theirs. Today, we're going to be kind of talking about a topic that hopefully everybody can relate to in some kind of way. Because today, we're going to talk about financial independence versus family support. So whether or not you fully support yourself when it comes to paying for anything, whether it be school, gas, food, whatever it may be, or if you have a little bit of family support, sometimes you can be a little mix of both, but family support is where your family pretty much pays for everything. So they're helping pay for your school, they're helping pay for if you need food and you're running a little low on some money maybe, or if you just don't have a job, so you need some sort of money to come in. And I brought Kenzie on this week because me and her know each other very well, and I know I am a little bit more on the family support side, and Kenzie's a little bit more on the financial independence, which go her. She's a big girl. She's taking care of her own money.
Yes,
Get
I do.
it?
I'm very independent.
Yes, she has. You have been for a while too, haven't you?
Yeah, since,
unless it's
sophomore year.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Sophomore year of high school, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got my first job.
Yeah, all of your big expenditures were, maybe helped, but
Yeah.
She's a big girl. She pays for her own gas. I still have to ask for money sometimes. But so hopefully by the end of this episode, we hope you'll understand the difference between financial independence and family support, and also how to learn to build that strong money mindset that will set you up for that success in the future when it comes to your finances now and after college. So first, we'll kind of start with the financial independence. I know I touched on it a little bit already. But that's the covering your own expenses without family assistance. So you know a lot about that, Kenzie. What's something that's you enjoy about being financially independent? Like, what's something that it's taught you?
I think it's definitely taught me how to budget and how to not spend my money on dumb things all the time. I actually have to prioritize what I spend my money on, and having leftover money is like a gift.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I just paid all my bills. Well, I have like $200 left, so I can go spend $100 on myself.
Yeah, now I can go treat myself.
Yeah, I can treat myself for being a big girl and having to pay my own bills.
Yeah, I know, because we live together, and so one day you were sitting at your desk and you're writing everything down, and you're like, well, I guess I'm not doing anything fun this month.
Yeah, like, okay, this is if I don't spend a dime.
And so that's kind of one of those, like, that's what kind of sucks about it, is because all of your money is paying for all of your stuff, and then for you to have, and then for you to have fun.
If I have leftover, I can have fun.
So it's a little overwhelming, right?
And sometimes I cry.
And then it requires the sacrifices, like you can't go out and do stuff all the time, or you can't buy like the fun t-shirt that you saw in the store and now you really want, but you can't have it. So And then family support is receiving financial help from parents or relatives. So that is where I fall. I fall close to that one. I'm a little bit of both. Like my fun stuff and things like gas and groceries, most of the time I can pay for. But when it comes to things like school, or if there's like a big purchase, like if I have sorority dues that I have to pay, sometimes I'll ask for a little bit of help from my parents, just depending on what I've got in my bank account that day. And I am blessed enough to have the government that does cover my tuition. So I'm kind of a mix of both, I like to say. I don't like to say I fully depend on my parents to help me pay for stuff. But I do still have to ask them for money because I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm a broke college kid. I can't do it.
Yeah, low-key, I do be doing that too, but like every once in a
while. I'm probably a little more often.
Maybe once every 2 months.
I'm like, if you want me to come visit you this weekend, you're going to have to send me $45 for gas because otherwise I'm not going to make it.
Break. Yeah, I was like I got $15.
I'm not making it. So that that's kind of the, like, it reduces the financial stress. So I'm not having to worry about, like, budgeting all the time. Sometimes I do still have to think about it when it comes to me wanting to have fun, but it also allows me to focus more on my school sometimes. I'm not having to worry about, I need to make sure I go and, log all my hours for work, or that I'm not going out and spending my money because I need to save up to be able to pay for books and stuff like that, which this past semester I did pay for my own books because it was a lot cheaper. So that was one of those that I took into consideration for the month and just didn't, spend extra that I didn't need to. Like, before going on spring break, I paid to go on this trip with my friends, and I was running low on my money, and I was like, Mom, I need gas to get home. Can you please send me some? And she's like, I guess so. But it's okay. She loves me. And so that leads to the dependency, and then the expectation that my parents will send me money for gas. Yeah. Or if I only have $100, but I need to go buy food for the week, that they'll send me $50. That way I can, but life happens. And sometimes your parents can't send you money because they've got their own stuff. Like, I have a younger sister who's involved in all kinds of stuff. And my mom was just talking about how she had to pay all this money for all the different things she's in. She's like, you're going to have to wait. I was like, okay, sounds great. I'll wait another week to ask for some more gas money. It's fine. So that's just kind of like, you can't always expect that out of your family and everything. And I do catch myself sometimes being like, I'll just ask my parents to pay for that. And then my mom's like, don't you make money? Don't you have a bank account? And I'm like, yeah, but I went to Chili's one too many times this week and stopped at Sonic one too many times. So no, I don't have the money. And she's like, well, I guess that sucks. You just won't get your Amazon order, or like, whatever it may be that I'm wanting. And she's like, no, you're not getting that.
Yeah.
You, on the other hand, you're just like, well, I guess I'll just have to wait because I don't have the money, and who am I going to ask for it?
Yeah,
like,
literally.
I know one day you were sitting there and you're like, I want this shirt so bad. You came over to me and you were like, I want it, but I can't buy it.
I know, I'm just like, I want this dress for my sorority, but like, it's expensive. Like, I can't afford it.
You were like,
I'm not going to be like, Mom, I really want this dress for my sorority. Like, will you please pay for it?
I know.
Like,
my mom, she helped me get a dress this past while I was home for spring break for my semi. And she was like, well, now you have to pay me back. I was like, you got it. Don't worry about it.
I know. My mom said that too. She paid for half of mine. She goes, now, whenever you get paid, I expect this back. And I was like,
you're like, okay. It's like a shot to the heart. You're like, oh, okay. So that just kind of went over, like, the independence means you're controlling your finances. You're taking care of it. You have to keep up with it more than I maybe do. Yeah. I don't check my bank account every day.
I do.
I really should make it a better
maybe
habit.
Every hour.
Every hour. And then that support means I'm relying on a little bit of external help. So maybe I do only have $100 left in my bank account, and I still have a whole week and a half till my next paycheck because I paid for Lord knows what.
See, like, I have $500 in my bank account right now, but I got insurance payment coming out. I have all these things in my sorority dues. Like, I'm about to have only like 50.
Yeah. See, I do not have to worry about the insurance. Like, that's
I'm a
just
big girl.
That just shows the difference. Like, the
I pay
families,
my own bills.
She pays her own bills. Watch out, guys. Watch out. And then both can be beneficial if balanced correctly. So as long as I am not sitting there always asking my parents for money and just racking up all my money to go spend it on whatever I want, it's okay, because then I'm not setting up those unhealthy expectations. And then for you, as long as you're not becoming crazy stingy and like, I can't spend a dime, like, you still have to treat yourself and give yourself a break.
Don't worry.
Oh, I know you do. Don't worry.
Like, the other day I was like, dang, I'm so hungry. When was the last time I bought myself food? Oh, not a long time, and I spent $40 at Wingstop. $40. Well, it was for me and my boyfriend, but like, still $40 for two people is crazy. But I was like, nah, I don't care.
It's worth
Treat
it.
myself.
So now that we've kind of gone over those, we're going to kind of shift into the money mindset. So kind of, figuring out how we can manage both situations, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And a key part of that is making the most of whatever resources you have.
Okay.
So I know I get a stipend from the government because my dad's veteran and disability status. So I get a little bit of help. And so I do have that set aside if I do have a big expense that comes through that I need to pay for. But I know that that's not something that you are, blessed enough to have. But you have this more financially responsible, I guess. You're probably more financially responsible than I am.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think I go out and spend a lot. I
Yeah.
think I just spend it on random stuff because I know I can.
Yeah, but I do be going shopping a lot too. But I just have to be careful.
And see, at least you're aware. That's one thing I always say. At least you're self-aware. So a strong money mindset is, more important than the amount that you have.
Mm-hmm.
It shapes how you think when you are going out and spending and when you are saving your money and planning for the future. I know I'm thinking about having to pay for an apartment and wanting to buy myself a new car in a couple years. And I'm like, I can't always be dipping into my savings account from that money that I get. I can't always be dipping into that to pay for, an iPad or whatever it may be. I can't always dip into that because then it's not going to be there when I'm going to buy a car or when life happens and something comes up and I don't have that money to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to understand our money psychology. So how our financial habits are often rooted in childhood experiences and social influences and emotions. So social influences, we did a couple episodes back. You were on that one where we talked about social media and, your spending and how you're easily influenced.
Yeah.
And so that's something that affects you just going and buying that random stuff that you don't really need. And then the childhood experiences based off of how you're raised. If you're raised with a little bit more money, you're probably going to be someone that's more likely to just spend. But if you're someone that was raised that didn't have as much money, you maybe weren't able to just go out and buy stuff just because.
Yeah.
And so you had to think about it more when you were out because then you're not going to have money. So if you are someone that grew up being, on the wealthier side of life, you just have to make sure to not feed into that, especially as a college student who may not have a job. I know that a lot of college students don't have jobs, so they don't have an income.
Yeah, it's like your parents have money, but do you
When
have
you're not
money?
living with them anymore
Yeah.
and they aren't seeing you every day, and if you're always asking them for money, they're going to be like, good grief, this kid keeps mooching off me.
Yeah, literally, especially if you're grown.
Exactly. So that's just kind of something that we want to think about, right? So some reflective questions you can ask yourself while you're out or when you're online or when someone says, hey, you want to go do this? Think about, do I feel guilty when I spend my money? Like, look at whatever this object may be that you're willing to buy. Are you like, I'm spending my money on it though, and I really need to buy groceries, but I really want this because I've been looking for it. Is it really that big of a need? Like, how bad do you feel dropping however much it is on like a t-shirt, Yeah. Like, do you really need this t-shirt? How often are you going to wear this t-shirt? How many other t-shirts do you have that you could wear before buying this new t-shirt kind of stuff?
Yeah.
And then, do you avoid looking at your bank account? Like I said earlier, I don't look at mine as often as I probably should.
Sometimes I'd just be scared to open it because I already know there's going to be nothing in there.
Well, once again, at
it's
least
okay. If
it's
it gets declined, it's fine.
That is not Texan Smart,
Well,
Kinsey.
okay, listen,
It's fine.
y'all, it's
We're-
fine.
we live and we learn, I guess.
Live and laugh.
That's
And
we
learn, I
live,
guess.
laugh, learn. There we go. And then do I spend impulsively when I'm stressed? So I know I was getting a little stressed at one point and I bought like a $75. It was when we first came back from Christmas break. I got really stressed and I was like, I really miss being at home. I got used to being at home for a month And I spent like $120. And I was like, this is not good. This is not good at all. I called my mom. I was like, Mom, you have to help me refund all this stuff because I can't afford it right now. And she was like, well, that's why you don't spend when you're stressed. And I know my mom, like one time I asked, I was like, hey, do you want to go to the store with me? She's like, nope, I'm not going, because she was so stressed. She's like, I'm not going. Because she knew she was just going to spend.
Yeah. It's coping.
It is. It's that retail therapy. It makes you feel better because you're like, well, now I'm treating myself. I'm stressed, so now I'm going to treat myself. Don't do it. And don't like go buy food because you're stressed, because that's just as bad. And that's just not going to make you feel good in the end because you're probably not even hungry.
Yeah, low-key.
Also, but make sure you are eating. We do need to keep that in mind. So that kind of feeds into the FOMO and the social spending. So like when you're out with people, college life comes with those pressures, that peer pressure of like, oh, come out with us. It's going to be great. Let's go to the Twist. We'll go to two-step. It's only $10, but maybe you can't afford going to the Twist
every week. That's
for $10
$40 a month.
Yeah. That's see? Think about it. Look at that.
That's how I think about it.
See? $40 a month if you go to the Twist every week for Two-Step Tuesday. And that's one of those, the concerts to trips. Like I said, I spent money to go on a trip with my friends. I don't usually do that. I don't usually spend money to go out with my friends.
Yeah.
So it was okay because I was like, I don't usually spend this much money. And I have a lot on hand right now, and it's going to be worth the money.
Yeah.
And ask yourself, am I spending because I truly want to, or because I feel like I'm being pressured to spend it? Like, sit and think.
I'm just going because my friends are going, but I have to pay to get in.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pay to get in because I don't actually want to be there.
If you're sitting there and you're saying, I don't want to have to pay to get in, do I even really want to go? Maybe don't go. Yeah. You may be sad that you didn't go. It may feel left out, that FOMO. But sometimes being a little bit sad that you weren't there is better than being broke or missing money that you didn't need to spend because it was like a waste of your time. And so that's just kind of, that also helps you break emotional spending because it's the serotonin. It gives you serotonin or dopamine, all the different ones.
Hormones.
And so when you're spending to go hang out with your friends, you're like, oh, it's going to make me happy. I'm spending time with my friends. That's an emotional spend. Or, like we said, when you're stressed. Don't go spend when you're stressed because that's an emotional expense. Oh, my goodness. And then, even if you're sad, like if you're sad and you're like, I'm going to go do some online shopping. It'll make me feel better. And then you have a $60 Amazon cart and no money. Don't do it. I've done it. It's not fun. Try a 24-hour rule before making those purchases. Sit there, put it in your cart, think about it. Just, do I really need this? Or was I just upset? Once you're over that little sadness or like that excited or stressed, then you can go back and look at it and be like, oof, I don't need this. This is not something that I need. You don't need to go out and buy 4 new phone cases. You have one phone and you have a perfectly good case on it right now, Yeah. And then, so we just kind of want to shift that mindset into this. Instead of saying, I can't afford this, ask what's more important for my future. So saying, I can buy this just because, well, do you need to buy it just because, or should you maybe save it for next semester when you need books? That extra $50 out of that $100 that you have for yourself that you're putting aside for entertainment, maybe you could put that half of that into savings and have it for later, because then you'll appreciate it when you have money for books. I know I would have loved to have a little extra money for books this past year, but it's fine. It's fine. So now that we kind of understand, spending psychology, we can kind of talk about how to avoid common pitfalls and the college lifestyle creep. Do you know what that is?
No.
So that a lifestyle creep is when increased income or financial help leads to automatically increasing your spending. So I know I spend a lot more money since I got my job here at Texan Smart and since being at college. because you don't have a parent that's like, no, you don't need to spend that money. You need it for this. You don't have someone sitting there telling you you need to save your money for that, because you're not telling your parents every second of the day what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, when you're living at home, they're like, oh, well, where are you going? And sometimes, you know, they'll be nice and they'll give you some money. Well, now that you don't have that extra $20 that they maybe gave you to go to Whataburger, you're spending your own $20 and you're losing $20.
Yeah.
And then it's not in your pocket anymore. It's gone. It's no longer in your bank account. So kind of we want to steer away from it. So like we talked about, the going to the twist. That's a big part of Tarleton's culture. Everybody loves the twist. Maybe just because everybody else that you know is going doesn't mean you have to go. Do you even like going? Can you even two-step? Think about things like that. Are you going to enjoy yourself when you go? Are you a people person? Ask yourself those questions of the environment that you're going to be into, because you don't want to go into an environment that's stressful for you, because then you're not going to be happy, and then you're going to regret it, and you're going to feel guilty spending. Even if it's $10, you're going to feel guilty spending it, and that's what we want to avoid. So just remember, because you have more money doesn't mean you have to spend the money.
Yes.
That is a hard lesson I had to learn. I know when I first got here, I was like, I'm going to go to TJ Maxx, I'm going to go to Walmart, I'm going to go to Ulta, and I'm going to spend all my money. And then I had no money. I was like, oh, actually, it's not a bottomless pit of cash and invisible money, and I actually have to not spend my money. Because when I was with my parents, they were like, yeah, we'll get it for you, don't worry. And that's kind of one of those, what financial background do you have? Are you a financially independent person? Do you have to watch every single penny you spend? Or are you someone with family support that thinks they can just go spend all the money that they have and someone's going to replenish it? So I know for me, sometimes, like I've said before, I can ask my parents, hey, I need help with this purchase. It's actually for something I need. And they'd send me a couple bucks for it. You, on the other hand, maybe wouldn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I know for a school project or for one of my classes, I had to buy a certain platform. Well, my mom sent me money for it, and I didn't have to worry about it coming out of my money.
Yeah.
But I know you had to do the same platform, and you had to pay for that one all by yourself. And I know that it sucks because it was a big payment, too.
Yeah. I mean, if it's something I need, like, they'll send me money for it. But, like, if it's something I want, it's maybe they'll send me the money, but I got to pay them back.
Yeah.
Or no, because if you don't have your own money for it, then you don't need to be buying it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's essential, more likely for them to help me than it is for them to not.
Yeah. And that's just kind of one of those things that you want to stay away from. So, you know, when you get that refund check from your student loans, save it. You know, save it. Keep it to the side. Because let's say you do have some insanely expensive platform you have to buy, and you need that money. So then you have the ability to go grab it real quick, and you're not feeling guilty about it because it's something that you need, and it's money that you set aside for something like that. And do you splurge or do you save? Think about that. Are you someone that as soon as you get paid, you're going out and you're spending your money? Or are you someone that when you get paid, what you're thinking about first is how much of this can I set aside? Like, what do I have coming up that I may need to pay for? How much can I set aside for, you know, the next 2 weeks before I get paid? So that's just kind of, that's, you know, those little things like we like to say here. So some practical little steps. Set spending limits for your fun activities. Like a $50 limit every, once a week, because I know sometimes it can be expensive, or you can up it depending on, like, you know, maybe it is spring break, or you can lower it if you know it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. Don't go, like, if you know you're going to be sitting in your dorm for a weekend because there's nothing going on, maybe set a low spending limit, because you're more likely to get out of your dorm just because, and then go to the stores and spend just because. But if you set yourself a limit of, oh, I only have $10 more I can spend, then you know, okay, that's where I'm cutting myself off, and then I'll still have money left to be able to pay for whatever else I may need.
Right.
And if a family is supporting you, channel that money towards essentials or savings instead of lifestyle upgrades. So let's say you are someone that does not have an income and your family sends you an allowance once a month. Take a good chunk of that and put it in a savings account, because if you do that, you're going to appreciate it more in the future, because it's not a constant income like a job. And you're having to think about it, because maybe, like I said, life happens. They can't send you the $150 they send you a month, right? Maybe they can only send you like 80 and they're like, we're sorry, we'll send you a little bit more when we can.
Right.
Well, you went and blew the last month's allowance, and now you only have $80 to get you through the next month. And so now you're like, well, what do I do? Because I have to go buy groceries. I have to buy gas because I, drove 45 minutes away to the nearest Target or whatever, So now you're like, well, now I'm going to have to start asking my friends to take me places, or if we can just hang out in the dorm because I can't spend any money to go out. And so that's one of those, you don't want to have to be sad because you can't spend any money.
Yeah.
Like me personally, I would rather be sad that I can't spend a chunk of money than being sad that I can't go out because I don't have any to spend at all.
Yeah.
Like, I would at least like to know that I'm setting myself a boundary of not spending money. So then there's that social comparison trap. If you do have friends that are like, oh, come on, let's go out. It's not like $15, $20. It's not that bad. It'll be fine. And you're like, well, I only have 40 in my bank account right now. 15 to 20 is going to put me in the hole pretty much.
Yeah.
And so just because, your roommate gets a new iPad like I did, that does not mean, or goes on an extravagant spring break. Let's say they went on a cruise. That does not mean you need to do the same thing. That doesn't mean, oh, my roommate got an iPad. Maybe I'll go buy myself a new phone. Or maybe I'll go treat myself to a shopping spree over spring break since they're going on a trip. Ask yourself, am I making the choices that truly align with my financial stability and goals? You want to think about your goals. If you are someone that is planning to purchase something like a car in the near future, maybe don't go spend $150 on stuff that you're going to touch once in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Think about it that way. You want to think about what's more beneficial for you in that moment or more beneficial for you in the future than in that moment. So now that we've kind of talked about that, like lifestyle creep, as I'm calling it, let's kind of talk about how you can prepare for full financial independence if you are not someone who is already financially independent. Because sometimes, yes, they do have help, or you have things like student loans that you may get a refund from. So train yourself for post-college independence by taking responsibility gradually. Let's say you're living in an apartment, if your parents cover your rent, consider splitting it in half. So you're getting used to that, a good chunk of money coming out of your bank account every month, or maybe just paying for utilities and groceries. Maybe they're going to cover the rent, but now you're also going to cover the utilities and the groceries instead of them paying for all of it. That's a good place to start, especially if you're someone who doesn't make a lot, because, rent gets expensive. It's not fun out there right now. So think about stuff like that. And then future-proofing your finances. So learn about the credit, savings, and student loan repayment before you graduate. I know that that's all stuff you have experience with. I know you have a credit card.
Yes,
and
I do.
That
and savings and student loans.
Yes. Kinsey, see, look at her. She's a big girl over here. She's got it all.
Yeah.
And see, I do have a savings, but I do not have a credit card, and I do not have student loans. I do have scholarships and everything. But it's nothing that I have to pay back in the future, which, not everybody is is blessed enough and to have that opportunity. So just think about making sure that you're going to be prepared when you graduate, because once you graduate, the real world hits. Once you're out there in the real world, like you're in the half real world now. You graduated high school, now you're here. You're still getting a little bit of help, maybe, and then you graduate college and you're in the real world fully on your own. Like, you've got help here and there, but it's not like when you're a student.
Yeah.
And so set those clear financial goals that you want for when you graduate, and moving into an apartment or a house, building that emergency fund once, because most of the time when people graduate, they're no longer dependent for their parents. Like, it's set up that way.
Yeah.
And achieving debt-free living. Nobody wants to live with debt. It's not fun. It's not fun because then you're always worried about it.
Yeah.
You're always worried about it. And so that's that mindset shift. Instead of I'll figure it out later. It's fine. My account may overdraft, but it's whatever. It's whatever. Start asking, how can I prepare for my future today? How much can I set aside a month into a savings account so that I'm not, saying, I'll just take care of it later. It's fine. It's fine. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to know that I've just spent myself into a hole. I'll take care of it later. It's fine. It's whatever. So with all that in mind, we're a little bit better equipped with those practical and psychological savvy approaches to managing our money, whether you're financially independent or you're on family support. So, we talked about all that, and we talked about the pros, the cons, and then how to think about your spending as either or. And I think that this is a really beneficial episode for anybody, even if you are like a freshly graduated college student. It's still good to know some of that stuff, because maybe it's something you never learned about while you were in college, and now you're struggling, or now you're stressed out, or your family's like, okay, I don't think we can help you pay for this stuff anymore. We need you to be a little bit more financially independent. I know that's one thing my parents said. They were like, when you do graduate, if you are struggling a little bit, we can help you out, but we're not going to pay for everything. Like, you're going to be a full-blown adult at that point, and you're going to have to take on all of that responsibility. I know it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, especially because I love my parents, and they're my best friends, but I know they can't pay for my stuff forever, and I think they would probably kill me if I made them pay for my stuff forever. So whether you're financially independent or receiving that family support, remember, your money mindset is what ultimately shapes your financial future. Think about your money. You want to think about it, and you want to be in the right mindset. Don't just be someone who goes out and spends, but also don't be a penny pincher and never spend money. Because, sometimes money does buy you happiness sometimes. Like,
temporary happiness.
Temporary happiness, but if you're never spending money, you're going to be sad, because you're like, well, I don't have nice stuff, and all I'm doing is spending money on, all these bills and stuff, and it just makes you sad, because you feel like, because you're not getting anything out of it. I mean, you are getting a place to live, and, maybe a car and a phone that you can use, but, you're not getting a nice new shirt every once in a while, or a nice pair of shoes. You're not treating yourself. So you want to make sure that you're not a crazy shopaholic, but you don't want to be a penny pincher.
A good balance.
Yes, you want that good balance. So some of our key points from today's episode is avoiding that emotional spending and manage that lifestyle creep. So just because you have all this money and this newfound freedom does not mean you have to use it like it's limitless, because everything has a limit. Everything has a limit. And adopt those smart spending habits now to pave the way for your post-college independence. So as long as you start those good habits now, it's going to be easier to continue on or build off of them after you have graduated. I know you have some really good habits that I'm trying to catch on to, of that monthly budgeting, or every time you get paid, you sit there and you're like, well, this is how much I'm going to get paid on this paycheck, so I can use it for this, this, and this, and then save a little bit for that. And then I have this in my savings that I can use for this purchase that came through this month that I don't usually have. And so I'm trying to get better about looking at those things, because I am getting to the point where my parents are about to be like, okay, we're done. I'm getting older, and I make my own money. So just think about one habit, that's going to be our call to action for today. Think about one money habit you can start improving today. So whether it's something that you already have and you can build off of, or if you just start a brand new one, whether it be making yourself a budget or setting up a automatic transfer when you get paid. So I think that we have touched on everything for today. We enjoy having y'all listen to us yap and yap for who knows how long. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their semester. And remember, be well, be ready, and be Texan Smart.